Hi, everybody, and happy Friday, August 1st, a breezy August 1st after all that rain last night. I hope everyone is safe where you are. I think it's fair to say the fishing's a little bit different today than it was yesterday out on the bay with all that water coming into the watershed. Keep an eye out there for logs and other things floating if you're out on the water. And of course, today, August 1st, is a return to striped bass season, but it's still hot out there and there is hot water. And so it's not the time to be catching and releasing striped bass. If you're looking for a nice meal, head on out and catch them up. And then move on to some of our other fisheries, especially our invasive fish like blue catfish and snakeheads. And before going fishing for them, if you're not signed up for the Great Chesapeake Invasives Count, check that out on our website and make sure that you get signed up because we have some great prizes coming. We're going to be rewarding July prizes on the August Live with Lenny, which will happen next Thursday, and announce a brand new Upper Bay special prize package we have coming from our friends at Tochterman's Tackle and in partnership with DNR. Upper Bay anglers, we want you really targeting these fish, the two catfish, the flatheads and the blue cats and snakeheads, to finish up our year. And we have some special prizes for the regionality or that regional focus of this fishery. And so right here at Baltimore Peninsula at Port Covington Marina, CCA is very fortunate to work with our fantastic partners here to do some fantastic events. Just last weekend, July 27th on Sunday, we had our Tides and Vibes for July. It was done in partnership with the Charm City Seafood Festival. So we had some great vendors right behind me here on the pier, kind of out towards that giant gray ship you see. And so we also have some fantastic events coming up soon. So Tides and Vibes is back August 17th. There will be a splashdown theme. And so come on out, plan on the kids getting wet and wild, having a good time, enjoying summertime with some great vendors. And of course, we will have fishing right here on the pier again. And speaking of fishing, last weekend also the Combos for Kids program and Anglers Sports Center had their White Perch Open. Proud to be wearing my shirt. I went down to help volunteer a little bit in the morning and get those folks going, but heck, they didn't need the help. What EJ has put together, EJ Harmon, with Mike from Anglers and all the incredible team there, put together a tremendous program that supports so many youth in this region, connecting them to fishing experiences that they wouldn't get otherwise. And so last weekend they had a fantastic event, raised some great money for this program so they can continue to connect with youth throughout the watershed. They'll also be here at Oyster Blues and Brews right behind me, supporting with kids being able to get fishing information, talk to experts, get rigged up, and fish right here in the marina. But even better, with Oyster Blues and Brews on September 6th, we have the Rod and Reef Slam coming back. And so we're focused on a youth and family fishing derby in partnership with Combos for Kids and Anglers and Chesapeake Bay Foundation and Chesapeake Oyster Alliance. We have a 30-person charter boat coming in and different smaller boats that will be taking folks back and forth to fish the restored Fort Carroll Reef. So it's right outside of where the Key Bridge was, inside the Fort Carroll Reef. There's a restored oyster reef there, and the whole purpose of going out there is to highlight what a restored oyster reef does for angling, what it does for the biodiversity that you can catch on a reef, and really just opening people's minds to what's happening down below. It's out of sight, out of mind, but we anglers know that we can find fish around this habitat, and that's why CCA is so supportive of the habitat programs all around our state and region, and why we have our very own Living Reef Action Campaign. So speaking of the Living Reef Action Campaign, on September 5th, we're having our Baltimore Banquet, which is themed this year as Rye for Reefs. And so Rye for Reefs is a brand new program to support the Living Reef Action Campaign that we're doing in partnership with our neighbors right here, Sagamore Spirit. And so we have selected a 9-year aged barrel of rye whiskey, and that will be bottled in special commemorative edition bottles for the Living Reef Action Campaign. It is the program's 10th anniversary, and so you'll be able to donate and receive your own bottle and prize package at the Rye for Reefs dinner, and then at additional events that we have moving forward. If you can't make it to see us in Baltimore, I hope you save the date for October 30th. The Annapolis chapter is having their banquet at Chesapeake Bay Foundation. So if you can't make it up here for the launch party, we will definitely have some Rye for Reefs bottles at the Annapolis banquet. But get your tickets, get your sponsorships. If you check out the Rye for Reefs ticket page, you will see that there's all sorts of different ways that you can attend and take part in this event, and you can sponsor this event. And this Monday, August 4th, this coming Monday, we're having a happy hour for the Baltimore chapter at our brand new office on the west side of Baltimore Peninsula, right off of Hanover Street and 95. So come out to our office. It's at the Impact Village on Dickman Street. You can check that out on our calendar, and that's a great chance that if you're in the Baltimore area, you're a part of our chapter, you're a member, or you want to find out more about getting involved with CCA, that's your best chance coming up next Monday. And so I hope to see you that afternoon, because we have August 4th, the happy hour, August 17th, the next Tides and Vibes, September 5th, the Rye for Reefs dinner and banquet, and then September 6th, we have Oyster Blues and Brews. We'll be looking for volunteers. We're looking for partners. We're looking for vendors to all get involved in this great work we're doing here in my hometown, Baltimore, Charm City. So again, beyond that, we're doing lots of work around the area, and we're really proud, to work with partners up and down the watershed throughout the year. We always want you to get more involved. See, as you see scrolling along the bottom, you can go to our website to find out more ways to come out to our events and get connected in that way. But if you have some ideas, or you want to talk with me or our Assistant Director, Jesse Howe, about some things you may want to do on a local chapter level or a state chapter level, check out that email below, information@ccamd.org. That's how you can get our team's attention, and we can set a meeting to connect with you and talk about your great ideas. Everything I've just been talking about has become a reality because a small group of people have worked together in a grassroots fashion to serve the public and to connect people to fishing and boating and the things that all of us hold near and dear, and why we do conservation in the first place. And so, speaking of conservation, where the rubber hits the road with so much of the work CCA does is in the regulatory side of things. And I'm honored to represent you at the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission. And so we have a meeting coming next week. We have a few different topics on the agenda, two of which are really important to rec anglers, species that we care about that are being considered for future regulation. One of those is our loved striped bass. The other is a red drum. And so those two species have draft addendums underway. The board, which I sit on both of, will be reviewing that information next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, and making some decisions about what public comment documents and what final draft addendum we put out to the public. So that's just simply a complete package of information about the status of the fishery, some of the scientific guidance and advice from other folks that work behind the scenes very hard to manage our fisheries. And then we as board members send that document out to all of you. The team at ASMFC and state agencies will hold hearings for the public throughout the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, and then we'll come back together in October and deliberate and decide whether or not different regulations are implemented for each species. For striped bass, there are some potential reductions in play, and also Maryland's attempt to reset our baseline of seasons is still under discussion. And so very soon will be your opportunity to provide public comment on both of those issues. The ASMFC website, there's a link in our bio, and it's asmfc.org. You can follow along with a webinar, review the meeting information, and everything that's happening with lots of other important species too. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the most important fish in the sea, the menhaden. Of course, the industrial fishery, which exists in Virginia waters, and then out in federal waters, the reduction fishery, which can take 51,000 metric tons of menhaden in the bay, is always a topic of and focus of ours and of many recreational anglers. It is a David versus Goliath type issue, as the menhaden fuels the ecosystem in the Chesapeake Bay, but also is important to the harvesters, which take it back to their plant and reduce it down to fish meal products through the reduction fishery. So it's highly complicated, but if you've been out on the water recently, you know that there's not a high abundance of menhaden in the bay right now. The folks that keep an eye on what the industry is doing in the Southern Bay are reporting the exact same things. It seems like most of the purse seine activity, which is occurring up and down the Atlantic coast, is up north. There aren't sizable menhaden here. I've even heard anecdotally that some of the New Jersey bait boats are only catching small, relatively small juvenile menhaden, 6 and 7 inches or even smaller. And so that tells us something as managers. There's this age class issue. There's a lack of big fish here, big menhaden. And of course, we are very concerned of what that means. And it means that the managers should be taking action to try and answer some of the questions of the impact the reduction fishery has here in the Chesapeake, and whether or not our regulations and who can do what where is acceptable for the prevailing conditions we have at this time. The bay is under a ton of different pressures: weather swings, heat, drought, too much rain, too little rain. All these things impact the ecosystem, and a fish like a menhaden both grazes on plankton and algae to feed itself, turning sunlight into protein, and then feeds so many important predators that we all care about. And again, anecdotally, we're hearing from sport fishermen and commercial fishermen up and down the bay that there's a total lack of menhaden. And last year, the data shows that Maryland barely caught much of it's very small quota that we have here. Menhaden here in Maryland are a very important bait for our crab fishery. And as we know, the crab fishery is also in some trouble. So there's lots of things happening in the Chesapeake, and it's definitely important for all leaders at all levels to pay attention, to take bold action, and make sure that we're conserving this resource for the maximum benefit of the public. These are fish that we can take and we can consume, we can use in various ways, but we have to be smart, strategic, and transparent. And so all eyes are on the commission next week to see what happens with redfish, with striped bass, and hopefully with some menhaden action taking place. We will see, and I hope you follow along and get involved in the public comment process. It takes many voices to shape the right outcomes that we need, and I hope to see you involved there. Again, if not, check out our website. Make sure you follow along with what we have going on. Also, make sure you follow us on social media and check out our YouTube. If you're viewing this video at YouTube right now, pop around our channel, see some of the cool stuff we're doing, and then find a way to get involved with CCA. As we always say, join us. Most importantly, have a good and safe weekend and stay out there on the water having some fun with family. And I hope to see you Monday or at a future event here in Baltimore or elsewhere. Thank you.